How's it going, everyone? Sinister here of the Gamer section, and today I'm going to review Castlevania the Anniversary Collection, which you can get on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. So anybody who's a Castlevania fan, this review is for you. If you're new to the series, you never played the classic games before, definitely give this video a listen. Basically, I'm just going to review like how the game looks, how's it play, how's the control feel, things like that. So, anyway, like this this collection of 8 games, also comes with a bonus book. So, basically you got 4 games there, well, actually 3 that for the old NES. Of course, you got one that's from the Famicom that was never released in the United States or outside of Japan for that matter. And you have one game for the Super Nintendo and one for the Sega Genesis. So basically you get 2 16-bit games, and of course you get 2 Game Boy games and things of that nature. So basically, like I said, I'll break down the controls, the graphics, gameplay, things like that. So basically, let's start with the gameplay. How does it look? The emulation looks spot on. I get to try every one of the games, and of course I checked how they look. Like I said, Process M2, like for the emulation, that did spot on. Like, take these old games and make them look cool, like on model television, especially like 4K TVs like mine. So, kudos to that. And of course, in addition, if you don't like the way the game looks, you can always, hit the trigger button on your controller, and you can just change your display setting and change your resolution around or your screen size. And of course, you get your original setting, which is basically blank. It's just like the original, how's it look on your old CRT. You also got something that looks, pixel perfect. And then, of course, you have 16:9, which is basically widescreen. And of course, checking out the widescreen, that's like my main gripe, because like I tried, how they look on some of the games, and it just looks messy. Doesn't look right when it's all stretched out, and plus it cuts up part of your screen, stuff, depending what how your TV is. And so I wouldn't recommend like the 16:9, but of course, everyone is different. Just to each their own on that. And of course, you have different things, like frames. You got 3 different frames. Of course, you got the original frame, which is basically blank. That's what I have mine set on. And of course, you have the one with the anniversary on the side, like with Dracula, Simon on the side, and things like that. And of course, you have one that's like a bloody frame, so it's just big old blood stain, like something you put on your wall, stuff like that. But of course, I wouldn't recommend putting blood on the wall. But like I said, it's just options to choose from. So anyway, just like I said, I mentioned you get some of the games, of course, start with the original Castlevania. To me, it is like one of the most difficult games I ever played, and stuff like that. Trying to beat this game in one sitting. So, with this anniversary now, it's a little bit easier. Of course, you can save your progress along the way, because unlike playing it on the original Nintendo, it's like, well, you just have to tough it out and beat it in one sitting, or just do it some other time. So, of course, that's like one of the things I always like, because this feature is also featured on the Castlevania Requiem collection, with Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. But however, with that is, with the quick save, you can only do it every so often, and then of course you got to reload it. But see, once you turn it on, stuff like that, sometimes you can lose that save. So that's that's like one of the minor gripe of that. So anyways, and I tried like games like Castlevania 4. Graphically, it looks kind of weird, with this pixelated. I tried the pixel perfect. It looks even a hotter mess. And of course, the scan lines, with the 4:3, 16:9, it just looks weird and things like that. It just kind of messes up with your eyes a little bit. So I wouldn't recommend using that either. So, but of course, it's your choice. Choose a setting that fits your style. Okay, now moving on, it's like, okay, how's the controls for each of the games? The controls are spot on. Like I said, I fool with the NES games, and of course with the 16-bit games. But the 16-bit, it's gonna take a little while to get used to, because your X button is your whip, and the A button is your jump, and depending on your platform and stuff like that. So of course on Xbox it's X and A you can use that the most, and of course I think it's the B button to use your sub weapons. But of course if you're playing on the Switch and the PS4, it's different on there. So it's the same same getup, but different face buttons. And of course, I mean, I had no problem with the controls except for Castlevania Adventure. I mean, to me, that game is it's too slow. I mean, I know it's an early Game Boy game. It's it's the first in the adventure in that genre, and it's just, to me, it's just too slow. I don't see myself playing it for long. I'll try to go through it and try to beat it somehow. So, I mean, just like I said, I was like, I basically just don't get many playthroughs on it. As far as its sequel goes, Belmon's Revenge, it's a lot better. It's in a big improvement over the original. Like the way it plays, it controls, and things like that. It's a little bit faster. As I say that Konami took their time and right their wrongs like they did with the Castlevania Adventure. So it's like, yeah, it's got branching paths just like Castlevania 2 and 3. Things like that. So speaking of Castlevania 3, of course, I mean, I like the way it plays. It combines like the first two games, and branching paths. Plus, you get allies to help you out, or you can go in alone if you roll the ultimate challenge and things like that. So it's like one of those games, that has like high replay value. It's just not like you just go through it once and don't want to play it again, things like that. So if you want those different endings, so hey, there you go. And of course, next, and Castlevania Bloodlines, for the Genesis, like again, the graphics look fine, the gameplay is cool, and it's just like I played on the Genesis back then. And just like the other games before, you can always use that trigger to save your games, and you feel like you want to save it at a point. It's like, I can get to this later and stuff like that. So, like I said, with any of these games, you can always save it, things like that. But the way with Simon's Quest, of course, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. I mean, it's just laughable about the translation. I mean, it gets the butt of all jokes. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fun game, but it's just the bosses are just too easy. It's just not much of a challenge when it comes to the bosses, stuff like that. Even Dracula himself. I mean, once you get all the body parts, I mean, you just whip away until he dies and stuff like that. Of course, it has multiple endings depending on what you've done, stuff like that. So yeah, that's just my take. And of course, last but not least, there's a bonus book on there. It details like the history of all the games. It shows like all the covers, like from all the games, like from Japan, North America, and Europe for that matter. So, I mean, which is pretty cool. And it has like interviews, commentaries, things of that nature. So if you don't always want to be a history buff like myself, you can always hear about the company history, about the games and stuff, how they're made, things like that. So this is definitely for you. So I almost lost my voice here, but as far as my final thought is, like, to me, I like it, except for Castlevania Adventures and things like that. But I definitely something I'll invest my time on, just the art that basically kill time and things of that in that matter. But anyway, I always like to hear your opinions down below. It's like, is this want to try it? Don't want to try it? You can feel like it was like yay or nay, things of that nature. Just drop it in a comment down below. So basically, this is Sinister of the Gamer Section, and I'm out.